Tonight, former Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, is challenging the state against claims that he breached the Bank of Ghana's act in approving a financial deal for defunct Unibank. There's more in this report.
There were 68 counts leveled against the former Deputy Governor, Dr. Isiama, Dr. Kobna Dufour, founder of the defunct Unibank, and 7 others as a result of their alleged contribution to the collapse of Unibank. The charge, which include fraudulent breach of trust, money laundering, have been challenged by all accused persons. According to the lawyer for Dr. Dufour, who is the lead defense counsel, Dominic Ayene, the charges by the Attorney General cannot be proven because all the facts presented lacked credibility. Dominic Ayene told the court, presided over by Justice Bright Mensah, that the accused persons performed their mandates professionally and therefore cannot be liable. He also prayed the courts to grant them bail since they were well-known people and could always avail themselves to the courts. The court has therefore set the 24th of March for court management and given all lawyers by end of 14th March to file their responses. Meanwhile, in the case of the founder of UT Holdings, Prince Kofi Amwabeng, he has been slapped with 42 charges including money laundering, conspiracy to commit crime, among others. He also pleaded not guilty to any of the charges.
Inflation rate for the month of January has declined marginally to 7.8%. The development means that even though inflation was increasing last month, it was at a little slower rate compared with that of the previous month, that is December 2019. Professor Samuel Kobnenim is government statistician.
On a year-on-year basis, there has been a slight slowdown in the rate of inflation from 7.9 year-on-year basis to 7.8 year-on-year basis. So December 2018 as against December 2019, the year-on-year inflation as released in January this year was 7.9, and on year-on-year basis, that is January 2019 relative to January 2020, is 7.8. General price levels have increased by 7.8% higher than the prices that we recorded in January 2019. And as a matter of emphasis, the month-on-month inflation between January 2020 relative to December 2019 is 1.4%. We further do the major contributors of the 7.8 inflation that we've just shared with you. And ladies and gentlemen, the main component, the main drivers, the main contributors of the January 2020 inflationary rate is led by food and non-alcoholic beverages, which is taking slightly to fifth of the entire inflationary rate, followed by transport, transport and housing. We go further to do the disaggregation by sharing with you the major drivers for the month-on-month inflation. So the 1.4% that we shared with you earlier on, food and non-alcoholic beverages is taking about 70% of it. So out of the 1.4 month-on-month inflation, 0.99 is attributed to food and non-alcoholic beverages. We do the disaggregation based on 2 main components, food and non-food inflation, and also locally produced and imported items.
Now, with the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, there are still doubts if Ghana's trading community is prepared for the challenges and opportunities ahead. Checks by Joy Business have revealed that even though government is making frantic efforts to ensure the smooth takeoff of the agreement, some industry players may be unaware of opportunities available to them. In this report, my colleague Charles Aite engages some of these key stakeholders within Ghana's export community on their preparedness so far.
Are expected to be removed to pave way for the Continental Free Trade Agreement area. This will see African economies trade among themselves in a single market which will be created under the agreement.
We know that the success of the AFCFTA would mean that the era of low volumes of intra-regional trade that have defined the activities of African economies will come to an end.
Seated at the heart of the central business district of Accra, this will be the building that houses the Secretariat of the Continental Free Trade Agreement area. Previously, it was termed as the Exim House, but now it has been rebranded the Africa Trade House. But ahead of its operation by the end of March this year, we're asking how prepared Ghanaian businesses are.
With the hosting of the Continental Free Trade, a lot of other countries will come to Ghana and to trade with other countries in Africa. So seriously, they might also have incentives and low interest rates, and their prices will be more competitive. So how do we put ourselves together to take advantage of this continental free trade and to trade among ourselves as Africans?
But research suggests that neighboring African countries to Ghana will become competitors rather than export market destinations when it comes to most agricultural products. In order to reduce the impact of this, CEO of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, GEPA, Efuasabi Asari, outlined some cash crops that GEPA will prioritize to give Ghana a competitive advantage.
I'm looking at cashew. I'm looking at some of the fruits and vegetables. Our coconut, our arts and crafts. Pharmaceuticals is very big. And then plastics and even our services now. You know, GEPA has a new department for services. And so we are even selling our services. We are bringing in students from around the continent to come and school here because we have some very good universities here and it's working. We are bringing in, we are sending out nurses. We are doing all kinds of things when it comes to services. So I think services is now important. We should look at services, tourism, all of that.
The Continental Free Trade Agreement area will be the world's largest free trade area with a market size of 1.2 billion people. And of course, in terms of revenue, we're looking at close to $2.5 trillion in gross domestic products. If planned well, Ghana could be raking in billions of cedis in annual GDP, especially when several of its exports are much of high grade. I'm Charles Aite for Joy Business.
Reporting from Charles Aite there. Well, it's barely a month into this year's Cosmos Innovation Center Agritech Challenge, and the competition is already heating up. 125 young persons who are all committed to becoming successful in this year's competition were this week taken through a launch and learn event to help shape their business ideas in the agriculture value chain. Agribusiness startups from previous competitions were on hand to guide the young entrepreneurs. Here's a wrap of day one of this year's Launch and Learn series.
Before you even get into the field, get to know the companies that you're going to see.
These young entrepreneurs sharing the experience in running a business were once at the receiving end. They were eager to learn a lot about the field of agriculture and how to solve the steaming problems there. Now fully fledged new crop of agriculture enthusiasts. As part of the Lunch and Learn program series of the KIC Agritech Challenge, the former participants did not only share the experiences, but the concept behind the businesses. Winning team from the 2015 edition of the competition, Chocho Tractor, were among the past teams that made it to the Launch and Learn. Chief Operating Officer Emmanuel Ansam Profi had a word for the 2020 cohort.
What is key for me or for them is having to do an in-depth of the problems. You know, problems of agriculture or agri-tech or agribusiness, we all know from beginning. From our primary school, what are the challenges in agriculture? Lack of road, and those ones. Now, it is now time that they delve in deeper and know that, okay, with this, what is the critical mass? How many people are affected by this problem? And if I'm solving it, what are the challenges that I'm going to be facing? How am I going to make money from it? Because at the end of the day, your business survives on ability to be able to sustain yourself.
Within the space of 10 months, These young entrepreneurs will be taken through a series of key business skills, which, according to the Cosmos Innovation Center, will build the understanding on how to use technology and innovation to solve some of the toughest challenges in Ghana's agricultural sector. Public Affairs Manager of Blue Skies, Alistair Jimate, also spoke to the agri-techies on new innovations in the agriculture sector. He said participants should look out for emerging trends as they develop and build their business ideas.
There are a lot of businesses we used to know some 10, 20 years ago that have disappeared from the surface of the earth. And so it's very important for young people, entrepreneurs who are looking into the future to identify some of these trends so that they move along with it. In the agriculture sector, it's no exception. Now there are a lot of machinery, there are a lot of technology and human input into so many activities, and it is important that we realize some of these challenges so that as we project into the future, we don't become obsolete within the shortest possible time.
Some agri-techies of the 2020 cohort spoke to Joy Business.
Picking from their experiences and all that, I know for certain when I do get myself into the market, because next week we are doing that, we'll be going for the market survey and all that. When I do get myself there, I need to look out for opportunities. Whatever business ideas I have, there's a possibility that someone out there also has it. So I need to weigh it, see what else I can do differently and how I can make mine stand out from the other.
We were taught to be open-minded, and that doesn't only apply to what we would be gaining here, but it's something which is needed everywhere. When you step out somewhere, there are a lot of people who can add value to your life. So when you are open-minded, it gives you the opportunity to learn from various fields.
The participants will from February 15 embark on the first market research tour of selected parts of the country, which will deepen the understanding of the agribusiness value chain aimed at shaping their business ideas. For Joy Business, Karen Dodu.
And you're watching our Business Live. We are taking a short break. After the break, we'll bring you the Joy Business Van episode for this week. Stay tuned.
Look, Aisha, Chief Financial Controller of Operations. The whole market circle. Everybody know Aisha. First, now Aisha no get crowd too. Every day then she for go back. Today be water bill. Tomorrow cash deposit. Next week be picking school fees. Meanwhile, that is the day she know the selling cell phone. But now, levels don't change. Aisha they pay bills, then transfer cash all for the EcoBank mobile app top. You can buy for a shopper. Shabu shabu. You scan, then you move. Aisha be big woman.
Pay your bills and receive payments like a boss with the EcoBank mobile app.
Oh yeah, download the EcoBank app, make we go.
EcoBank, the Pan-African bank.
Welcome back to our program tonight. The Peasant Farmers Association has called for more investments into agriculture storage facilities because the current warehouse capacity under the One District, One Warehouse initiative is insufficient to address post-harvest losses. This follows a recent report by Agriculture Information and Communication Company, SOCO, which indicated food prices went up in various markets in January. Now, according to the program director of the Peasant Farmers Association, this is due to the issue of post-harvest losses, which still remains a challenge for the agri sector.
According to the January food commodity report by SOCO, food commodity prices had shot up within the month of January of 26.77% to trade at 500 Ghana cedi, 50 pesos per carton. This increment in food commodity prices Sissoko attributed to relative scarcity of food items due to poor post-harvest management of food during periods of bumper harvest. Programs Director for the Peasant Farmers Association, Charles Nyaba, says about 50 to 70% of fruits and vegetables are still lost after harvest due to storage issues.
And at the end of the day, you have about 30% for cereals and grains getting lost through post-harvest losses. For fruit, tuber, we have about 50 to 70% getting lost through post-harvest losses. So you realize that during the period of September, October, November, food prices are always very low, simply because farmers want to dispose it off. If they keep it, they might lose all. Personally, I have to quickly sell off my maize and rice because the storage spaces were not there. So now the few people who are able to store it up now expect to get higher prices because they would have lost about 50%. And then the 50% loss, they need higher prices to compensate for that.
Despite government interventions such as the One District, One Warehouse, Mr. Nyaba says more investment from both government and the private sectors needed to mitigate the challenge.
One District, One Warehouse, most of the district where these warehouses are situated, 2-3 farmers will be able to fill those warehouses. They are not enough. Apart from the numbers that we have, we need to establish warehouses with appropriate facilities like dryers, like grading machineries, like cold stores. That one will help. And then we also need to think about how to develop the feeder routes where the produce when it's moving to the nearest market. In most occasions, the goods are left to rot on the farm because the road networks are bad. Vehicles are not ready to go there. We don't also even have appropriate vehicles that will convey this produce to the nearest markets. So all these are impacting on the losses. So if we increase investment in those areas, I think we will make some progress.
For Joy Business, Sheila Tamaklo reporting.
If Bernard Esiama was told he was going to be a fashion designer of international acclaim, he would have doubted it very much, but that is the former lab scientist's reality. And it's not just what he does, but how he does it that is getting him traction. His startup, Bello Couture GH, is our feature today on the Joy Business Vibe.
Hi, Joy Business Van. This is Bennett Brako Esiama, CEO of Bello Couture GH. Welcome to my showroom.
Creative Director of Bello Couture GH, Bennett Brako Esiama, is promoting Afro-urban fashion and putting Ghana on the global fashion map. He is creator of the African print hoodies and bomber jackets you probably may have come across in town. The idea of an African print hoodie came to him on a trip to South Africa in 2018.
I knew the place was quite cold, so I bought a normal hoodie in town. It was a normal plain hoodie in town. I didn't even put my logo on it. I just bought a normal hoodie and I remanufactured it into an African hoodie. And I replaced it with a kente fabric. I took off the hoodie, I put the kente fabric there, and I created a pocket so that I can put my hands in it just because of the cold. Little did I know that it was going to be like one of the biggest things to happen to Bello Couture.
Bello Couture GH had been operating 3 years before then. In 2015, that was the year Bennett decided to quit working as a lab scientist, performing testings on samples to making clothing. That was his passion for many years.
I didn't want to do anything, or I just didn't want to follow the crowd like what a lot of people are doing. So here's what I did. I decided to really scout or create fabrics that would have the African feel, but very different from the other prints that we see in town.
Projecting Ghanaian fashion, that was what Bennett set out to do, marketing his products on social media. And then he got his big break. He got an opportunity to showcase his work in the Netherlands.
It was more like I was dreaming, but I mean, the reality set in when I got to Schiphol Airport, and we finally got to our hotel, and I realized that no, I've really gotten to this part. Now, doing the show, not knowing I had some clients out there who are not Ghanaians, who were expecting me. I mean, after they saw that I was going to be part, they followed me on social media, so they liked what I was doing. As soon as I walked in, they were all cheering me and mentioning Bello, Bello. I was lost for a moment, because I'm like, I literally know nobody in this crowd. So how come a lot are mentioning my name? Like, what is going on?
Bennett would go ahead to increase his product offerings as he came into the line.
The request and the feedback we are getting from our international clients is amazing, because of the fact that they've always wanted to also propel Africa, even though some of them are not African, but they love our African prints, and the authenticity in our prints makes a lot of sense to them.
Currently, Bello Couture GH makes at least 90 garments a week. Bennett makes clothing for both the high-end and for everyday people. But as Bennett's designs get popular, he has to grapple with copycats.
Because now, a lot of people have started doing hoodies. A lot of people have started doing bomber jacket, like I said earlier. But I'm not so bothered, because of the fact that originality sells itself.
It's been a successful 5 years for Bello Couture GH, picking so many awards, both local and international. The latest being the best male fashion designer at the West Africa Photo Arena.
We're looking at expanding in a very big way, and our major and our main target is to see our product in all the big outlets in the world. So you would go to France, you would get our outlets there. Even if not our personal outlets, it would be like in a shop where you can just walk in and just buy any of our products in any part of the world. So we are putting strategies together as usual, going to be coming up with amazing designs that will blow a lot of people's mind, something you would even think about.
In the meantime, Bennett is planning to tour Europe as he works towards promoting Ghanaian fashion. Great person to be proud of. That was the story of Bello Couture GH, the creative director there being Bennett Isiama. Well, we also have to be proud of the Multimedia Group Limited. We are celebrating 25 years of media excellence. Take a look at this.
Hello, my name is Susie Ansa, Public Relations Executive for Toyota Ghana, and I have been a discerning listener to multimedia, especially Joy FM and their Super Morning Show. They've been amazing. 25 years has been great, always on point with their news. You get to know what's going on even before it happens. And being in the automobile industry and listening and watching to Joy Business News, it's amazing because it's very informative, time conscious, and prompt with data whenever we have a watch or a listen to it. Keep it up.
Some kind words from Toyota Ghana there. And before we go, we just want you to take a look at our poll on our Facebook page, that is Joy Business, following the town hall meeting addressed by the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Do you believe that government has so far achieved 78% of promises made to Ghanaians? I don't need to say so much. Based on 185 votes in the last couple of hours, 84% of you say no, a big no. Thanks for watching our program tonight. My name is Darryl Kwao.